Hey everybody, this is Tony.
And this is Paul. We're coming at you from the Friends for Life podcast, where we discuss the ongoing lives and issues of people with developmental disabilities to spark positive change in the field.
And we have a lot of fun doing it.
Making sure that individuals are reaching the goals they have set for themselves. That's one of the many goals of Assured Health Services. If you're looking for a residential care provider or searching for ADS services, Assured Health is your go-to place. Assured Health, helping others succeed. Learn more at assuredhealthohio.com or call 419-442-8066. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Friends for Life podcast. Welcoming back for the third time, the one and only host of IDD Health Matters podcast, Dr. Craig Escude.
Why, thank you very much for having me today. I'm trying to sound like you, Paul.
Yeah.
You've got such that fantastic voice.
It's the Midwest, man.
Is that
That's where they breed the voiceover announcers and stuff.
Okay, well, we'll go with that for now.
So we met up, what was it, probably about 6 months ago in New Orleans?
Yes.
To start your podcast.
We sure did.
It's been going well. You've recorded more episodes in 6 months than Tony and I have recorded in 3 years. So congratulations.
You guys got to step it up.
Yeah, exactly. Kudos, my mother. Kudos.
Well, it's just so easy, and it's such a great platform for people to be able to tell their stories.
Mm-hmm.
And people haven't been able to tell their stories for so long in this field. It's been this hidden field that nobody wants to talk about, and it's not out there, and you don't know about it unless you fell into it or you have a family member or something like that. But there's incredible work that's being done in the field of supports and services for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Mm-hmm. Not to say that there's not a ways to go. We can always do better, but there's a lot of great things happening, and I'm glad that there's an opportunity for people to be able to talk about it.
Well, and I also want to point it out, man. You were one of the people to get my foot more into coming to conferences and things. Like, I'm so grassroots, feet to the floor, 10 toes down kind of guy, that I was always thinking like, well, what real connections am I going to make? And just in the couple of that we have done, I mean, it's blossomed so beautifully. Mm-hmm. And, so I really want to thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. And I want to thank you for pushing me to do something I never thought I'd do in my entire life, which is do podcasting.
Yeah, so, you're great at it, my friend. You're great.
That's very, very kind.
So what's the experience been like for you? Because your podcast is much more, I want to say, professional in the scope of what it is. Because we're like very conversational. Like, we just go places and see what's going on and talk to people, let them promote what they're doing. You kind of have a different take because you are a medical professional. You know people who are highly professional in that field, but it's still small field because it's IDD focused stuff. So what has your experience been like so far? I mean, you literally have just as much experience as us at this point. So
well, I wouldn't go that far. I only record these things. You guys make them look really nice. I can tell you. Thank you, Paul, for that. It's been wonderful. I mean, first of all, I'm a people person. I like to talk to people. I like to have fun. I like to enjoy what I do, and it's but I like to work hard as well too. But I've been able to meet a lot of people who work in this field at different levels, and I've been able to use just offer the opportunity for people to tell those stories in this podcast type setting, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. I was actually a little scared and kind of intimidated when I first started. It was like, well, are they going to want to do this? Are they going to be interested? And in the beginning, I got a few people that were like kind of skeptical. They're like, I don't know about this. Yeah. And that's because you're not me, Paul.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Come on, man. Look at this hair.
He's wearing a suit, and I'm wearing jeans and a polo shirt. I mean, distinct difference.
All kidding aside, I just went to people and said, "Hey, I'm doing this podcast. I work in the field of IDD, health and health supports. I guess I'm a physician in the field. They knew who I was because of the relationships I had. And I'm like, I would love for you to, you and I to sit down together and just talk about what you do in this field with the goal of helping people understand this field and see it as a viable career opportunity." And everybody just jumped on board, and they're all happy to do it. And so I've had the wonderful pleasure of being able to interview top leaders in the field, leaders of national organizations, state developmental disability directors, executive directors of provider agencies, and people who work in the field, like direct support professionals, nurses, physicians, self-advocates, people with disabilities themselves. I can't wait for some of the upcoming episodes for everyone out there to see with some of the self-advocates that we have, because the stories are incredible. I mean, I even got into dad jokes with one of them. It was kind of fun.
Dude, I love dad jokes. You already know. If it's not a dad joke,
then Tony doesn't know any other jokes.
Exactly. It's like I have to watch comedians because I love a dad joke.
But it's been incredible for me. I mean, because I get to sit down with people and get to know them better, just like we're sitting down right here, and spend 20, 30 minutes just talking and hearing their stories. And the stories I've heard are incredible. People that I've known for 5 years in this field, and you sit down and you get a totally different view. Yeah. One of the things that I would say is really kind of interesting and impressive, and really fits in with what you were trying to do with podcasting, is the number of people that started as a direct support professional that have gone to so many other areas, including state director positions. I mean, I'm talking like state developmental disability director positions, organization leaders, big conference leaders. It's amazing what opportunities you have in this field.
You don't find that in a lot of other fields, I don't feel like, either, because it's every single CEO or head of whatever here and there. You come to this field and it's like, I was a DSP. I was a DSP. I was a DSP. Yeah. Every single one of them. It's very rare that we run into someone without that story, and you just don't really find that much in other places anymore. It's just like, I think it just shows that in this field there's a huge room to grow into something if you work hard, and it's not going to be given to you.
And then it's the leading with your heart. I think that's one of the biggest open opportunities that we have, because all of us have compassion and we can all be compassionate, but do we want to open that door for it? If I'm getting too philosophical, let me know, but I think you have to sometimes just take a step back and then put yourself in someone else's shoes and just be like, damn, I complain about my coffee not being hot enough, or, I stubbed my toe, let alone if I didn't have a damn foot to stub my toe on, and I don't even understand the concept of pain from heat, or, those kind of things make me always appreciate the heartfelt moments that when you connect. And I think that it always comes on the back end when you give selflessly.
It's a lot of times it's the little things that make your job worthwhile, and the little successes, and the knowing that you made a difference in one person's life. Not that you were able to get up in front of 50,000 people and perform a concert or whatever it is, but it's like, the things that really keep me going when I go out and do talks and whatever are the little stories that I hear afterwards. Like, oh, I heard what you said, and I went back and I took this and I used it, and it made a difference in that person's life, and that person didn't have to go to the hospital because of what I learned, or that person got off of this medicine that was causing all these problems. And it's like, that's why I do this, and each person who works in this field has opportunities on a daily basis to make a difference in people's lives.
Amen.
The Reliable Drug and Alcohol Testing Clinic is a leading provider and convenient source of pre-employment and occupational type testing. Their clinic provides services to a wide range of private businesses, healthcare facilities, and municipal and county courts. Reliable is an independent, locally owned clinic. As a result, they provide their services at a lower cost than the major hospitals, have faster turnaround times on test results, and eliminate the long waits typically incurred at these larger facilities. To learn more, visit reliabledrugtest.com.
Well, I think that's the good thing about your podcast, is reaching an audience, especially in the medical field, where we've talked about this in the past, is like, a lot of doctors that Tony takes clients to, or his workers take clients to, don't have a background in understanding IDD. And just to get that message out there, to train doctors, whether it's through listening to the podcast or going through with what Intellectability does, to understand that you have to work around these people in a certain way and not just be like, yeah, blanket, whatever, do whatever, it's fine. Because if we take a step back to your Medical Mondays, there's so much good information in there about how to interact with people with a disability, how to understand what they're trying to tell you.
Shout outs to the Medical
Super
Mondays.
Underrated. Like, people need to go back and check out the Medical
check them
Mondays.
out. There are so many just fruitful intellectual thoughts behind it, and it just, dude, you did your thing with those,
Yeah,
and
those are awesome.
like I love it.
That's very kind. Thank you. I appreciate that. But it does make me want to tell a little bit of a story about how we kind of started doing this.
Yes.
So I remember getting a call from my office, and some guy reached into the office and wanted to talk to me. I'm like, this sounds interesting. I'll give him a call back. And it happened to be you. Yeah. And you were like, hey, we're doing this podcast and these podcasting things, and I wonder if you want to host a show. And my first thought was like, hell no. What in the world are you asking me to do? And I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, this maybe there's something in between we can do, and that's how Medical Mondays came about.
Yeah.
They're little 2 or 3 minute talks on a particular health issue related to people, health for people with IDD, and it kind of became addictive, and I just started doing all of these episodes, and I think we did 80 plus.
There was a lot,
like a year and a half of them, and I was kind of and it's kind of funny how it all happened too.
Yes,
because I was kind of getting like, okay, I'm getting kind of worn out, and about that time you called me and it was like, hey, let's talk about the next iteration of this, and you're like, hey, think about, what did you say? Something like, hey, I want you to really think about doing a real podcast. And I was like, hell no. And I thought about it some more, and I'm like, you know what? If we can figure out how to make this work, let's do it, because there's value in it. And you helped me see the value in doing this.
Thank
and I'm
you,
very
man.
thankful for that.
Really,
it's I think, you're moving this field into the modern age, I guess, and you're helping raise awareness for this field on so many levels, and it needs to happen, especially when we have such a shortage of people who want to work in this field.
And do it, yes.
And helping people to see that this is a great opportunity for a wonderful career where you really, can have the potential to do so much good is great. And I thank you for the vision and forcing me to do this.
I think we have puppeteers outside of us, in a sense, that just bring awesomeness like this together. I mean, 3 to 4 years ago, this doesn't happen.
No.
This is not what we projected, what we really thought. I mean, even from that, it took for me and Paul to be sitting down one day and say, I tell him, like, man, I've been looking at this podcast and stuff. How do you feel about it? And he's like, hey, I got some time. Let's screw it. Let's do it.
Yeah, I thought it was, that was actually one of the things that made me want to do this, because you guys really were thinking out of the box. And I like out of the box thinking, and figuring it out and what can we do. And I was like, okay, I think these guys are really onto something. And they've got the, what's the right word to choose?
Charisma,
insanity
to be able to do it. And it's like they're gonna make this work with or without me. And I'm like, hell, I'm jumping on this.
Let's get in.
Yeah.
Right people on the bus, right?
Yeah.
Well, we just noticed that there was this gap where it's like, who's reading newsletters? I'm not reading newsletters. Like, everybody's on YouTube and everybody's on Facebook. Like, why can't we do this?
Yeah.
Like, why? Like, if that's where the eyes are, why aren't we there?
Yeah.
And a lot of people that we see are just so hesitant to that. And I'm like, this is what everything's going to be in 10 years. Like, you're going to have an online presence.
You're right.
Like, get ahead of it.
Real discussion.
So.
And even when I reached out, there was a clip or something that I saw of you. I can't even remember exactly what it was, but
It's probably a good thing.
yeah, yeah, it definitely was probably a good thing. No,
There's some rough ones out there.
I had this deep-seated thought in my mind when I went to a physician's office with an individual I served, And the minute that we walked in, the physician is only speaking to me and only asking me these deeply personal questions about this person. This person is nonverbal, but was completely able to give understanding that he was aware of his surroundings and situation. And when I even mentioned, like, well, are you going to say hello to such and such? I mean, it was like a hand up and then continue to speak to me.
Yeah.
And that just made me feel a way of, like, are people still feeling so dismissed? And this is the person who's supposed to be helping them medically. That's right. Like, I wouldn't go to a physician that treated me that way. If you're just going to talk to
your mom,
you know, you're not even going to acknowledge me. So, like, that was a whole different view of what I was used to. And you helped really shine the light on those things. I mean, aside from all the medical knowledge that you have, just the humanity behind it, man. So, man, we're going to start crying in here soon. My brother.
I'm not going to cry. I'm going to hold it together.
Yeah. Keep it together. Keep it together. Keep it together.
Somebody's got to.
Yeah. Well, no, I think I just am excited to see where your show goes because, I mean, I've already previewed most of the episodes. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them coming out. And I think it's just a benefit because it's so different from what we're doing. And we have more stuff coming out with like different ideas for podcasts and things like that. We're trying to cover the whole gamut. So it's not just Tony and I rambling on it. It's really...
Yeah, I tried watching that and I just couldn't handle it.
It's not good.
I can barely handle it.
It's not good.
My goodness, we just sit
kidding. You guys are great.
we take car rides and we don't want to talk because we talk to each other all damn day.
Yeah. The car ride here was silent because we knew we'd be talking for the rest of the day. But it's really interesting because I never thought that there would be a place for that. Like the whole medical side of the IDD world. I mean, let's be honest, medical stuff's not that exciting to the average person, but you're kind of making it, humanizing it instead of just being like, oh, the doctor is talking about doctor stuff. Like you're talking about the issues and how to help people, and that's important. Because I don't know what any of the stuff you guys talk about, and I can't read your handwriting.
Yeah, that's why I don't write anymore. I always said, there needs to be a button when we started typing more and putting things in the computers. I wanted a button where I could hit it that made my typing illegible as well. Because it's just not normal for you to be able to read what a doctor writes.
I hear that. I learned my signature from a doctor. Like I was like, wow, that is so.
You just draw a line and put a line through it, and you're done.
Hip hip hooray.
Well, what are you looking forward to doing with your podcast? Because basically what happened is I showed up and I showed you how to work the gear and everything else has been you. What's your vision down the road? Because we're not like sitting here like our vision for your podcast, Craig, is the production value. Like we're just like do your thing. What do you want it to be?
I probably do what I want to do anyway.
So, my man.
Yeah, I know. My vision. I want to keep a health-related slant to what I do. Mm-hmm. And some of the episodes are more about health, and some of them are a little less about health, but it really all relates to overall support for the person. I want to... I guess what I really want to do is I want to help healthcare providers understand the importance and the value of learning how to provide healthcare for people with IDD. Mm-hmm. It needs to be in every medical school. It needs to be in every nursing school and every dental school and every other health professional school. Yes. And it not only benefits people with intellectual and developmental disabilities for clinicians to learn this, but people with all kinds of other differences. People with dementia, people that are aging, people with traumatic brain injury, and it helps make us all better clinicians. And so I'd really like to be able to move it a little more towards, or what's the right word? Not so much move it towards health, but help somehow engage the audience of clinicians to be able to watch this more. And I'm not exactly sure how to do that.
Well, you're just getting started, so you'll figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
So I have faith in that.
Well, thanks. I will give it a try for sure.
Well, we're trying to take a lead from your podcast and make them a little shorter so people actually want to listen to them.
Yes.
So if there's anything, that you want to kind of put out there before we wrap up, but go ahead. But I mean, we're really excited to be working with you. We've only put out, like 15 or 16 episodes of your
Something like
podcast,
that,
but it's going to be, there's a lot more coming. So
Yeah,
you have your own
definitely.
YouTube channel and stuff. So
What I would say is look up IDD Health Matters on any podcast platform that you want to watch it, or just search it on the internet and actually come up, which is great.
That's
that
nice.
took a minute to figure out.
And share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with people in the field, share it with your healthcare providers. Tell them to listen to this, and keep on doing what you do out there in terms of supporting people with IDD and supporting everyone that you support. That's really all I have to say. Do what you do it well, and keep striving for the best.
Heck yeah, man.
fair enough.
And real quick, again, go back, check the Medical Mondays. They are worth it. You need this in your life. They weren't the best edited. I don't know who I had in charge of that, but
Well, they weren't the best filmed either, and that was me in charge of that. So
no,
but
but
the information's decent.
yes,
Yeah.
get
And that's
that
all
info.
that matters.
Yeah.
THS Remote Supports is clearly focused on improving independent living through dynamic and personalized services. Their systems have been carefully developed and perfected to ensure that everyone receives the best care through the least intrusive means possible. Located in Cincinnati, Ohio, they've spent over 20 years providing in-home supports to individuals with disabilities. If you or someone you know is looking for a remote service provider, go to thsrss.com or call 513-882-9088.